It's holy matrimony, love wrapped in grace, honesty the cornerstone, openness embrace, transparency the power to make it through, Christ in the center, making all things new. Welcome to the base camp.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Marriage Base Camp podcast. I'm Robert and I'm here with the one and only Shelly.
Hey guys.
We're going to start this podcast off. I'm going to read a passage of scripture. And if you're like, oh, great, he's going to quote the Bible, don't worry. Even if you don't know a lot about the Bible or even like the Bible, I think you're going to like this part. This is taken from Song of Solomon, chapter 7. And I'm going to read a few different verses here, starting verse 1. How beautiful are your feet in sandals, O prince's daughter. The curves of your hips are like jewels, the work of the hands of an artist. Your navel is like a round goblet which never lacks mixed wine. Your belly is like a heap of wheat fenced in with lilies. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. So quickly noting back in verse 2, your navel, that actually is not talking about belly button. It's the closest body part that basically they were allowed to write.
This is good.
All right.
All right.
Let's skip down to verse 6. How beautiful and how delightful you are, my love, with all your charms. Your stature is like a palm tree, and your breasts are like its clusters. I said, I will climb the palm tree, and I will take hold of its fruit stalks. Oh, may your breasts be like clusters of the vine, and the fragrance of your breath like apples, and your mouth like the best wine.
I like the boobs.
Do what?
It's a lot about the boobs.
Well,
sorry.
I mean, you think about who's writing it. Of course. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's why we did that. That's in the Bible, y'all.
Yeah.
Like that is in the Bible, and it's right in the middle of the Bible. And that's even, I would say, a PG-13 version of really what is going on there. And some people are like, oh, Song of Solomon, it's all allegory and he's talking. And listen, I do believe there are parts that can be allegorical, but I don't believe that it's allegory. I believe it's talking about two lovers enjoying sex, enjoying each other's bodies, enjoying each other the way God intended. And so I think it's great that God puts a whole book about sexual intimacy right in the Bible. And so today we're going to talk about something that I think every couple wants, but most couples, they're just not sure how to build, and that's intimacy, particularly sexual intimacy. Yes, in the bedroom, but also beyond the bedroom. Often we'll have people ask us about frequency. Like, how many times should we be having sex? Or what's normal? Like, what, how many times per week or whatever it is. And it's not that it's not important. I would just say we typically don't suggest a certain number, because there's way too many factors at play here.
Right.
Age, right? How, hormones, years together in a relationship, kids, etc., like life situations and pressures. And so I would say if you guys have sex often, that could be a great thing, or it could be a sign that there's something else going on, because rabbits have sex often, but I don't think that they're living sacrificially for one another. So just because it might be a high number doesn't mean it's a great thing, is what I'm saying. And just because you guys don't have sex that often isn't also necessarily a sign that everything is bad. Like we said, a lot of variables go on here into this. And so I'll say this. We've talked to couples who have not had sex for months, even years, some of them several years.
Yeah.
And I think we would say this to you, if that's you guys and you're out there listening to this. I think you should consider that very seriously. You should get curious about that, because here's a thought. You are the only legitimate and God-honoring outlet for sex for your spouse. you don't want them turning to anything else to meet that need. So you don't want them turning to porn and masturbation and adultery. Like you don't want them going to those other outlets. You are the only God honoring outlet that they have for that particular thing. Now, that's not to say that the pressure's on you to have sex if you don't want to. We're just saying,
Get curious. Yeah.
yeah, get curious about it. You should feel some responsibility to get curious about why you both are not intimate. And so just don't think, oh yeah, it's just something we don't do. It's not part of our relationship.
That's sad.
It is sad.
Because you're missing out on a intimate part of your marriage.
We just read scripture. It's a gift.
Right. And it is.
God's like, hey, I got an idea. Let's make this super enjoyable. I'm going to give it to you as a gift.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're missing out on that. And so if you get curious, actually, you might discover that there might be some things that are happening well outside of the bedroom that are actually blocking your ability to be intimate with one another. Some of these we've covered in previous episodes, like a lack of connection, or you stopped inviting each other in, or there's conflict that has turned into combat, and all of those things. And those absolutely play a part in that. So we would say get curious about it.
Exactly. And we hope today that people understand that bedroom intimacy grows long before you were in the bedroom. And just here are two truths we've learned along the way, just talking with people and learning ourselves, that physical intimacy rarely is about technique.
Right.
Rather, it's about connection, like you said, invitation, whether both spouses are experiencing intimacy as just something meaningful. And it's emotional intimacy at the core level. Like sexual intimacy is emotional.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because we live in a culture that's really only concerned with the technique of sex. That's why when you're at the store and you see the little magazine rack,
right,
like every magazine that has a title or a tagline, something like 7 positions he'll love tonight,
right,
or 8 ways to drive her wild in bed. It's all about technique, because we've taken all of the mystery out of sex. There's no mystery anymore. Everybody can see everything all the time in full HD. And when you take out the mystery, all you're left with is the mechanics. And so that's the only thing to work on is technique at that point. And in fact, the late sex therapist, Bernie Zilbergeld, he interviewed married men and women ages from like 45 to 87. So older couples, we'll say. And he selected half of the couples because they reported having a satisfying sex life.
Yeah.
And the other half because they reported having an unsatisfied sex life.
Okay.
And he wanted to discover, hey, what helps passion stay alive as these couples age together? Or conversely, what kills passion as these couples age? Was it, they had the best sex positions? Was it the ambient lighting in the room? Was Kenny G playing in the background? Was it just they experimented with different things? Whatever it was, he wanted to find out what was this secret ingredient that kept passion alive. And what he found was actually pretty astonishing. What he found is that there was actually an unimportance of sexual technique. It almost didn't even show up on the radar. Like, technique was not really the thing. It had very little to do with having satisfying sex, technique, that is. What he found that best fueled the passion in marriages was this. He found that the sexually active and satisfied partners had a closer friendship with each other, and they were committed to making sex a priority.
That's huge.
Yeah, so it turns out it wasn't any of the things that we've been sold to believe makes great sex. It was simply staying friends and making sex a priority.
Yeah, and we've said this in lots of different conferences that we've taught, just GSD.
GSD, why don't you explain to people what a GSD is?
It's just guaranteed sex day, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, just how we respond to sex and intimacy. And I just think I don't know. I didn't think I would like it at first.
Mm.
But as a woman who is busy with kids and I can forget, I just totally forget.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to, I just forget
Yeah.
and I get busy. And so it just allows me to plan ahead like, okay, this is a set a time that's just for me and my husband that I can plan on.
Yeah.
It actually helped a lot, I think.
Yeah. I'll be honest. First time I heard the idea, I thought it was ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah. It sounded robotic and
Yeah, especially
staged
as you
and
get older, right?
sterile. It was like, well, this is what? This is dumb.
But now it's something you look forward to.
Yeah. I was wrong. I
Yeah,
was
totally.
absolutely wrong in
Yeah.
my initial assessment.
And here's a second truth we've learned that emotional intimacy fuels physical intimacy. We've said that. And when emotional distance grows, physical connection struggles. And when emotional closeness deepens, physical intimacy thrives. In other words, when your hearts drift apart, well, bodies tend to follow. And when your hearts draw together, desire awakens. So, yeah.
So this podcast is going to be all over the place, really. We're gonna talk about sexual intimacy, but we're also going to talk about emotional closeness
Yeah.
and spiritual connection, and why all of them fuel the intimacy that ends up in the bedroom often. Because I think a lot of people believe that works the other way around. So many couples, they assume that sexual intimacy creates emotional closeness,
Yes.
when in reality, emotional closeness is what gives life to sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
This is why many women will give themselves, not just women, men do it too, but a lot of times a woman will give herself over to her partner sexually because they believe that it will create this emotional bond that they desire with that man.
Right. It doesn't.
And then they're surprised that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they think that sex is the fuel for connection, when actually connection is the fuel for sex.
Yep.
And often, in order for the sexual intimacy in your relationship to be high, man, it's got to begin with that emotional intimacy.
Right. Or you hear couples say like, well, we have, like their marriage may not be great, but they're having a lot of sex. Well, that's just physical. You have no emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that the physical is bad. I mean, it's still sex. It still feels good. It's still.
Yeah, but
there is something missing
there's
there.
a lot missing.
Yeah. We would say seldom, if ever, does it work the other way around, where sex itself drives the emotional connection.
Right.
Simply because that's how God designed it to work.
Right. Yeah. And just like in Song of Solomon that you said, it's passionate, it's poetic, right in the middle of the Bible, almost like God was saying, I am not intimidated by sex. I invented it. I invented sex and I have a plan for it. Sex is not outside God's provision. It's a gift. But it's a gift that flourishes when intimacy exists in every corner of the relationship, not just the bedroom. Every corner.
Yeah. In order for us to go forward, we have to go backward first. Okay. So a lot of us grew up with sex education that was basically the DARE program with different vocabulary. Like if you're familiar with DARE, right? Don't do drugs. Keep your kids off drugs. This is your brain.
It's still around, I think.
It's still around, but man, back in the 80s, it was like, the commercial, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs or whatever. And like the egg was frying in the pan.
Scared to death.
Yeah, like the message was 100% fear-based. And it was, if you do drugs, you will 100% die.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that we all knew people and kids who did drugs and they didn't die. And so we started questioning the teaching.
Right.
Similarly, for decades, there's existed this same fear-based teaching against sex, especially if you were in the church.
True.
So the church's overall message was, don't have premarital sex. Right. It's a sin. Oh, and also you could get pregnant and get a disease, almost as if pregnancy and disease was worse than sin against God.
Even for girls, it was like, no one's going to want you. You're damaged goods.
Dang.
Like it was.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fear-based, completely shallow, really unhelpful. Mm-hmm. And it was a whole lot of, here's what God says not to do. And very little of, well, here's why God says And here's what God says is good about sex.
Yeah.
And not to mention that when you make the consequences of sex only about pregnancy and disease,
Mm-hmm.
both of those can be solved with a condom.
Yep.
I mean, they really could. Do you know how many inappropriate things you can do sexually and not have to worry about getting someone pregnant?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. And so we had this generation of kids growing up believing that you could be completely naked with another person, seeing everything, touching everything, tasting everything, ejaculating everything. But as
Gosh.
long as you weren't having a penetrating orgasm, it
Right.
wasn't true
Wasn't true
sex.
sex. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's literally what we were taught.
Completely just missing the point.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. Sadly, like you said, you mentioned the church often taught the same thing as the schools were teaching, and the consequences were the same. And rather talking about sex in a healthy, God honoring way, sex became the thing that you weren't supposed to talk about. Like it's just, we didn't talk about it. And then somehow on the night of your wedding, you were just supposed to be turned into these like little sex kittens who just knew exactly how to pleasure each other. It's like, we haven't even had this conversation. I don't even know.
Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Then become an expert on it.
Right. And
in
I'm
one
like,
day.
you don't even know your own body parts. Like,
Yeah.
so with the lack of sexual, just healthy sexual conversations, sex became all about virginity. Just, you know, if you remember the purity rings or the pledges, and look, it wasn't all bad, but it did shrink the conversation just to one thing. And it was very much, like you said, fear-based.
Exactly. Virginity became this infinity
Yeah.
stone that everyone desperately tried to keep from giving away.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of talk about, quote, purity. But
Mhm.
really what people meant when they said purity was just chastity or virginity.
Virginity.
And so the assumption was, like you said, if you're no longer a virgin, then you're no longer pure.
Right.
And if you're no longer pure, well, who would want you?
Right.
You know,
it's so
just
crazy.
Yeah. And so it's so many horrible teachings that really screwed a lot of us up that grew up in the 80s and
Can
90s.
I tell you what my mom used to say to my brother all the time?
Please do.
If you have sex, it'll fall off.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember hearing that a lot. Yep. That was it.
Okay.
That's all I heard. We never talked about sex. That was it.
He was probably scared to death that first time. Okay. Well,
yeah, so there you go. Okay.
That's not true, people.
It's not true.
Anyway, we don't have time to get into what the purity culture was or all of that, but here's the short version. Purity is not, well, this is not the short version of purity culture. This is my short version commentary on purity culture. Listen, purity is not a teenager's game. It's not regulated to young people who haven't had sex. Purity is for everyone.
Yep.
Every single person, no matter your age.
Married, unmarried.
Yeah. Why? Because purity isn't about your past. It's about pursuit, particularly your pursuit of Jesus. And so if you make it about your past, you make it about your virginity. Once it's gone, it's gone. Well, I don't have to be pure anymore. Says who? No. We're all called to purity. You and I have been married for over 28 years, and both of us are called today to live lives of purity.
True. Yes.
Even though we haven't been virgins for a long time.
Yes.
So purity keeps intimacy in your marriage sacred, protected, and healthy.
Yeah.
And that lasts long after that first intercourse.
Yeah, because purity is, how do I speak to the people? What am I watching? How am I texting other people? It's a lot. Purity is a lifestyle.
Yeah. And when you make it only about virginity,
right,
when it's gone, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A healthy sexual, intimate relationship is built on integrity, intimacy, and intentionality, not fear. And that's why in this episode, we're talking about really just the whole life of intimacy. If you both are not intimate with each other in every area, it will affect your sexual intimacy. Like if you're hiding things or you feel like you can't share feelings or maybe even what God's challenging you with, just little things, those little things grow
Yeah. Those little connection points.
Right.
So maybe you're not satisfied with your sexual intimacy. Well, here's something to think about.
Okay.
Kind of what we've been saying, just in a different way. Most sexual disconnection is actually emotional disconnection in disguise.
Yeah.
And so if you don't feel emotionally close, then playtime in the bedroom starts to feel more like a pressure cooker than a playground.
Yeah.
What should be the safe place to learn and explore in the closeness of each other actually starts to feel more like an obligation to one or even both of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want desire to thrive in your relationship, make sure both spouses feel safe, seen, and accepted. If you're wondering how you go about doing that, well, we got some trail markers for you to practice. So here are some of them. Start by being curious and less defensive. Allow your partner to share their feelings without fear of punishment. Communicate that your spouse's feelings have been heard and not dismissed. Communicate that your spouse's feelings are valued and not just tolerated.
Those are huge.
Those are big. And we've asked a few times by other couples, like, how do we improve our sex life? You know, how often what's the simple answer? Start talking to each other, start listening to each other, and start connecting emotionally. That honestly, that will give you a better sex life, I promise. Because emotional intimacy isn't its own form of, it is its own form of foreplay. And you have to start long before the bedroom. Kevin Lehman, I always love this little saying that he has: sex begins in the kitchen. And we said this one time, or you said it during a sermon we were doing together on marriage stuff. And you said that, and our son was like, what?
What?
In the kitchen?
Kitchen. Gross.
You're just quoting somebody. Anyway, he didn't understand all that. But like emotional intimacy, connections, those start in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Somewhere other than the bedroom.
I'm not going to say every problem with sexual intimacy is a lack of communication, but I am going to say many of them are. And it's really not a problem with sexual intimacy at all. It's a problem with communication of the sexual intimacy.
And they're afraid to bring that up in communication because either they're afraid they've already been rejected.
Yeah.
The wife tries to go to the husband. He's already tried to have the conversation, but she immediately rejects him.
Yeah.
That's fear. He's scared.
Hey, I don't like it when you do this thing.
Right.
It's going to make him mad, so I'm not going to say it. Or I do want you to do this thing, but I'm afraid to ask. It's communication.
It's communication, and it's an intimacy of communication. Like that's pretty intimate things.
So here's a topic that is often overlooked when you start talking about something like this, and that's spiritual intimacy.
Yeah.
And you may be thinking, spiritual intimacy? What does it have to do with sex? Like
a lot.
Like we want to talk about sex, and you're saying we need to go to the Bible? What? Stick with me here. Spiritual intimacy. What I mean is not that you're praying 3 hours a day. Basically, it's simply connecting your faith to your relationship together. Yeah. So things like praying together before a big decision, reading something together, asking, hey, how can I support you spiritually this week? This is why we say emotional intimacy happens long before the bedroom, because practicing spiritual intimacy isn't necessarily what you want to work on when you're being sexually intimate.
Sure is.
Yeah, we're not saying that you need to, push each other away, stop kissing in the moment and be like, hey, should we read a psalm together?
We should.
Like, no. It's not what we're saying. What we're saying is when you have done the hard work in advance of being spiritually intimate with each other earlier,
right,
then later it's way easier for both of you to be sexually intimate with each other. Why? Because the spiritual intimacy fueled the emotional intimacy, and the emotional intimacy fuels the sexual intimacy.
I think somebody should just write that down.
Write that down, y'all.
Spiritual intimacy fuels emotional intimacy, and emotional intimacy fuels sexual intimacy.
Dr. David Schnark I believe is how you pronounce his last name.
Okay.
He's a sex and trauma therapist. He says the couples who thrive long term are those who share something deeper than pleasure, those who have shared meaning and purpose.
Mm.
And so that just means that if you want your sexual intimacy to grow, then work on growing the parts of your marriage that connect your souls.
Yeah.
Spiritual intimacy, at least in our opinion, is probably the best way to connect your souls together because it stabilizes every other kind of intimacy that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy. So now let's talk about physical intimacy. And scripture is very clear. Physical intimacy between a husband and wife is beautiful. It's sacred, it's powerful, but it also warns us that misusing it carries consequences. So Hebrews 13:4 tells us, honor marriage and keep the bedroom bed pure. This is not something we should do out of fear, but rather because sex God's way is worth protecting. It really, really, really is worth protecting.
Yeah, maybe you've heard the analogy of a fire, right? Sex is kind of like fire in a fireplace. It's warm, inviting, it's cozy, it's peaceful,
Safe,
it's
yeah.
safe, it's beautiful, all the things. That same fire in the middle of your living room
Right.
on a carpet, shaggy carpet is not any of those things. It's dangerous. Call 911. Something bad is about to happen. So you look at sex and you think, yeah, sex the way God intended is all of those things that we would consider safe and good and warm and cozy. And
it's the most pure, intimate thing you can give someone else.
Yeah.
And it needs to stay that way. Like it's something you give a person.
Yeah.
In a marriage.
And there's a billion ways you can make it prideful and ugly.
True.
Yeah. So one of the things that we hear from couples regularly is this: one of us wants sex more than the other. Mm-hmm. And so if that's you, if you're listening to this and you're like, that's us. Listen, that's normal.
Yeah, totally normal.
It's completely normal. I would say, I don't know, I can't put a percentage on it, but I would say very high.
Yeah.
The majority, I'm talking in the high 90s, probably. Well, no, that's not actually true. I think according to the latest research, about 70% of couples are mismatched in their desire for sexual intimacy.
That's a lot.
That's a
majority.
Yeah, that's by far a majority.
Yeah.
And so it means that your desire is likely to be different than the desire of your spouse.
And that is okay.
And it's okay and it's normal.
Right.
And so, but here's the problem that a lot of couples make is they see the difference in their desire, sort of like we would look at a gas tank in our vehicle. And they're like, one partner has a lot of desire for sex. Mm-hmm. So they're like they're over on full, right? Yeah. They just want sex all the time. And the other partner has little desire for sex. And so they're thinking, oh, they're E, like they're down by the empty thing. They got the lights already flashing, only got a few miles left before it's empty. But listen, that's not actually what's going on. It's not a linear scale where you either have no desire for sex on one end or all the desire for sex on the other end. Right. It's not that you both have different levels of sexual desire. The truth is that you both have different types of sexual desire.
I think this will help a lot of marriages.
I'm going to repeat that.
Yes.
Because it just is worth repeating. If you have a different desire for sex than your spouse, stop viewing it as you have different levels of desire.
Someone's broken and
Yeah, start viewing it as you have different types of desire. And so if you want to read about this in detail, Emily Nagoski wrote a book called Come As You Are. And she states it this way, speaking to the partner who thinks they have low desire, because that's what our culture has.
Right. That you're the one that's.
Yeah, you're the one that's flawed. You have
Right.
low desire. You're the one that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
She says you are not broken. You just have your own unique pattern of desire.
That will free so many people. Like,
Right.
especially, like you said, the one who has the lower desire.
Yeah.
I'm not broken.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So then she goes on to explain the difference between spontaneous desire and responsive desire. So tell us a little bit.
So this is really important. So listen up. Spontaneous desire is what most people think of when they hear the word desire. It shows up out of the blue, a sudden thought, a feeling, physical urge for intimacy. It often precedes any touch, emotional connection, and says, I want sex. Let's do something about it. This is really, definitely spontaneous desire, I would say, is early on in marriage. A lot. This kind of desire is more common, like you said, early in relationships, but it's also treated as normal or the ideal pattern in our culture. It's thought more of the mature, or it's though it's not more mature or spiritual. It's simply just one way of seeing it or one way of desire. So spontaneous desire, guys, listen, that's the whole point. It's spontaneous, and they think about it, and it's a feeling, and all of a sudden it's an urge, and you want to have sex, and that is okay.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
This is the type of desire that is celebrated.
Yes,
in our culture.
Every
movie.
Yes,
you
everyone must have spontaneous desire.
They walk in the room, and then boom, they're up against the wall. Clothes are coming off, and like boom, 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 and they're just like little spider monkeys on top of each other.
Yeah, every movie, every show, every magazine, this is
this is the normal. This is celebrated.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's spontaneous
yes.
desire. Then there's responsive desire.
Listen up.
Some of y'all, some about to have a hallelujah moment. Responsive desire doesn't start with wanting sex at all. It actually develops in response to connection, safety, affection, and stimulation.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I want sex, I want it now, responsive desire kind of says, hey, I'm open to intimacy. And then later on, after it gets going, then it says, okay, now I'm starting to actually want this.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking, that kind of sounds like me, that kind of sounds like stuff, what I do, this may help. Responsive desire is especially common in long-term relationships, during stressful seasons of life, and for people whose sexual desire is deeply connected to emotional closeness and context.
Yes.
So let me say it again. It's not that you have low desire. You have normal desire. Yeah. It's simply desire in a different context.
I think when we figured this out, it finally helped us too.
It answered so many questions that we didn't even know we were asking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's why this matters for couples. Many couples struggle because they assume spontaneous desire, like we said, is the standard, and responsive desire is a problem to be fixed.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
Can you help my wife? She doesn't want sex as much as I do.
Go get your hormones. And I get it. Yes, we should get our hormones checked. We should do those type of things.
Yeah.
But there's also this, and it's really not a problem to be fixed. However, we want to see that both are normal. They're healthy. They're God-designed ways of experiencing desire. When you understand this, it reduces the shame, lowers the pressure, and helps couples move from performance to presence, learning how to invite desire rather than demand it. Because when you said that, what's this one called? Responsive desire is more about like the emotional connection. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a huge, huge part of it.
Yeah. Well, this is Marriage Base Camp, and so let's give a base camp illustration.
Okay.
At a real base camp, hikers will approach hiking the mountain, if you will, different ways. Not all of them will approach it the same way. They'll have different methods to doing it. And so let's look at what spontaneous desire would look like as a hiker at a base camp. So spontaneous desire would be like somebody, walking out of their tent in the morning, seeing the summit peak because it's a really clear, beautiful day. They see the peak already from base camp and they say, let's go, man. Let's go. I'm ready right now to start hiking up this mountain. The energy is there. The boots are on. The pack is loaded. The adrenaline is high. They don't need to warm up. They don't need to stretch, like their desire to climb immediately shows up before the trail even begins. Okay. Compare that to responsive desire. So that would look more like this. Like you're in your tent, you're in your sleeping bag, and it's warm and it's cozy, and you don't really feel the pull to climb just yet when you're in your sleeping bag. It's cold outside, all that. But once you get out there, once that fire pit is lit, once you got your coffee is poured,
it's a coffee.
Yeah, your boots are laced up.
Yeah.
And you're like a mile into the hike. Then all of a sudden, the desire to reach that summit wakens up.
Right.
It's like, yes, this is going to be so much fun. I'm interested in this. So in other words, your momentum is what created the motivation.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
So like you said, here's a problem that a lot of couples make. Here's the mistake that they make when it comes to sexual intimacy is that they assume both of you should feel the exact same way about hiking that mountain at the exact same moment.
Yeah, that's just not even possible, I feel like. It's really difficult. It might happen sometimes.
And it causes extreme frustration in both of you.
In both of you.
I can promise you that.
Yes.
So when one partner wants to have sex right now and the other partner says anything that is not also, I want to have sex right now.
Right.
It feels like rejection.
Yeah, I can see that.
To the first part. So what? How could you not want to? I want to.
Right.
We're experiencing that all the same things, and I'm good. I'm ready, and you're not. Oh, what is it? Me?
Right.
All the things, all the emotions. So our assumption is that one of you is probably spontaneous desire when it comes to sex.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes for you is a look, a word, even a wink, right, from the other ones, and you're like, green light, all system go.
That's great.
Let's do this. You get turned on really quickly. And chances are the other one probably has responsive desire, which means that you might have to snuggle a little while. You might have to kiss a little while. You might have to talk for a little while. You might have to connect in other ways. And then afterwards, or not afterwards, but during rather, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All the lights are green.
Right.
This is it. I'm into this. Let's do this. So in other words, it's like one of you is a microwave and the other is a crock pot.
Yeah.
And both are good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Neither is wrong. Neither's broken. You're simply wired different. And if you can understand that, everything becomes easier. You stop feeling rejected, like you said. You stop feeling ashamed and broken. You start seeing each other with compassion, which is huge.
So we want to give you a summit challenge like we do in each episode. And so your summit challenge for this week is you're going to build intimacy beyond the bedroom. Okay. And you're going to do that by doing a few things. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to practice regular emotional check-ins. And so you could just have the conversation around, a question like this. Well, here's what you need to do. Find one emotion that you've been feeling. So think about how you've been feeling lately. Pick one emotion. Work really hard.
Could be a challenge for men. Sorry, like to name an emotion.
Yeah.
That's huge. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, climbing the summit is hard, and so we're not going to give you easy things to do. I mean, come on, man.
But yes, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. So work really hard to name an emotion that you have been feeling. So here's an example. I am feeling lonely, or I am feeling scared, or
Yes.
I've been feeling overlooked at work, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Put a name to it.
Emotional intimacy.
Okay. Tired,
Yes.
not really good one. You
No,
can't
not
use tired.
Right.
Because I'm just tired. Well, I'm just tired. Blah, blah, blah.
Just stressed.
No.
Why?
Get specific. Put a name to it. And here's why. And this goes for both spouses.
Yeah.
Here's why. Your spouse, because they're a different gender than you, different life experiences than you, they don't understand what it's like to be you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So she does not understand what it's like to be a man. He does not understand what it's like to be a woman, so forth and so
Right.
forth. But they do, each of them, understand what loneliness feels like.
Yeah. Or scared.
What
Yeah.
being scared or feeling overlooked.
Right.
Like, you know that.
Yes.
And so if I say, hey, I am feeling overlooked. Now, you don't know what that means for me being a man and the job that I have or whatever, but you do know what being overlooked feels like.
Right.
So that's like it's like an instant emotional connection.
Yeah.
So that's your first thing is
Yeah.
practice those regular emotional check-ins and just say, hey, just letting you know I'm feeling this.
Yeah. Number 2, practice affection without an agenda. You're going to touch each other non-sexually, meaning you're going to touch each other with no expectation of sexual intimacy.
Like we said, these are difficult.
This is non-sexual touch that builds trust and connection. And we have said this before. Men, if the only time you're touching your spouse and your wife is when you want something, 1, you're not building trust. 2, she's going to feel like a prostitute. You only touch her when you want something.
Yeah.
And that is going to lead to a lot of distrust and not connection at all. So, non-sexual touch.
What
is huge.
What do you have any examples?
Just coming up and putting your hand on someone's back, or holding their hand when you're walking, or putting your hand on your knee if you're sitting next to each other. Just little things.
Yeah.
I mean, and know what your spouse likes. I hate to be popped on the butt. Robert knows that. Don't do it. But putting your hand on my butt doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So just little things like you're not expecting sex right now. You're just building trust. You're just having a connection.
Yeah.
A physical connection.
So a hug.
A hug, sure.
Minus the hip thrust.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the third thing is this. We want you guys to discuss which desire pattern you think you have.
That's huge. Yeah.
And so, in other words, we want you to figure out, do you have spontaneous desire or responsive desire? And we have a free resource on our website, marriagebasecamp.com, under resources for this very thing. You can look up and kind of see some examples of what it's like to have spontaneous desire and what it's like to have responsive, figure out which one you are, and just have the conversation and find out, learn about each other.
Yes.
As to
Never stop learning.
Yeah, which one you have. And I think just knowing that about each one is going to be so helpful because you're not trying to change the other person's type of desire. You want to accommodate it.
Yeah. You want to learn.
Yeah.
Grow. Yeah.
So like you were saying, if you are spontaneous, then you're not just going to slap her on the butt and expect that she's going to jump on you right there. Like, let's go, cowboy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You're going to have to find ways to connect with her in advance. Yeah. And for those of you who are, responsive, you may be thinking, well, either way, no matter which one you are, if you're thinking, how in the world am I going to connect with my spouse when they have a different type of desire than I do? Like, I don't know how to do this. Well, here's what we would suggest. You have the expert on that person sitting across from you. Mm-hmm. They know themselves.
Yeah.
And they know a whole lot about you. So ask them.
Have the conversations.
Hey, how can I connect with you in advance of us connecting sexually.
Right.
Like what does it for you? Like what helps you?
Right.
Is it a walk? Is it a talk? Is it a
Yeah.
hug? Is it a foot rub?
Because for me, because I am, most women are the responsive.
Yeah.
And
Many are.
Yes. But I think also our brains work in a way that we have so many tabs open, and it often takes you hugging me or touching my leg or touching my back for me to remember, oh yeah, I can close those other tabs, in my brain,
Yeah.
and do something else. Like,
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm not broken.
Yeah.
But I think that's why the GSD, the Guaranteed Sex Day, helps, because it allows my brain, like, I have this time that I'm going to focus on Robert and our intimacy and close everything else.
Yeah. I think before, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think before you had the idea of sex is not something I can enjoy until I get all these other things handled.
Yes. And it was never all handled.
And it was never all yeah.
It's life.
Yeah. And I think you have grown to the point where you're like, hey, sex is a thing I can enjoy even in the midst of all these other think tabs. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, like little tabs that are open in
that's brilliant. Yeah, I like that. It is the one thing that I can enjoy even in the midst of all the other things. And man, yeah.
It's okay. Slow down. Enjoy.
Yeah. All those other things are still going to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys remember, intimacy grows when you take small steps on purpose and toward each other. So thanks for joining us for this podcast. And we really hope this helps you build connection within your marriage, but also if you think it can help someone else, would you share this with them? We hope it would be encouragement to them as well. Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. And remember, intimacy isn't just a moment in the bedroom. It's the connection you build on the trail every single day.
Yes and amen.
See you guys.
See ya.
Welcome to the Base Channel. From Genesis to Revelation, His love is the guide. Every vow, every moment, we lay down our pride. His mercy's the melody, our heart's the refrain. Through sunshine and shadow, our love will remain. This holy matrimony, love wrapped in grace. Honesty the cornerstone, openness embrace. Transparency's the power to make it through. Christ in the center, making all things new.